All right, let's do exercise 126. So for this exercise, we're going to use the basic front bodies with the side and waist dart. And this design has a princess style line from the mid armhole to the waist. So I trace the basic front bodies, and we're going to draw a line from the side dart point to the bust. And let's extend these dart legs to the bust point. And let's draw another line from the mid armhole to the bust point. And let's find the midpoint of this guideline. So from the midpoint of this guideline, we need to square out 3/8 inch. And we're going to draw a curved line that passes through this point. So you need to place your French curve like this. Then flip and continue to draw the line. So the line should be naturally connected from this point to the dart point. And we're going to mark notches. So first, from the bust point, let's measure 3/8 inch in cross mark. And mark this point as X. And again, from the bust point, let's measure 1 inch. And then mark. And this time you need to use your measuring tape since this is a curved line. And again, from the bust point, you need to measure 1 inch. And let's cut this piece. And we're going to separate this piece. So we should have the center front bodies and the side front bodies. So when you cut, you need to cut along these new dart legs and cut along this curved line. So please don't cut this guideline. So I cut the pattern and I have 2 separate pieces. And we need to finish marking these notches. So as we did for exercise 122, we're going to cut these slash lines. So from this bust point to the point X, and from the start point to the point X. But make sure that it's not going through the point X so that we're able to close the side dart. Alright, so I cut the slash lines and now I'm able to close the side dart, and we need to tape. And let's trace the side panel. So you need to mark the notch here and here as well. So when you trace this curved line, you need to draw a dashed line like this. And you don't need to mark ease. Alright, so we're going to blend this line as we did for exercise 122. So on this line, we need to draw outward, and from this notch to the waistline, we need to draw inward curve. From here, let's measure 1/16 inch and mark. In the middle of this line from the notch to the waist, but it should be slightly above the midpoint. We need to measure 1/8 inch and mark. Right, so when you blend the line should pass through these points. And for the center front bodies, you need to mark this notch on the other side at the back, and you need to match this notch, and you need to trace this blended line. And let's cut. And let's trace the center front bodies. So after tracing the front bodies, you need to label each piece correctly. So don't forget to put the cotton fold and CF along the center front line, and the cut quantity for the side panel should be 2. And please don't erase the original line on the side panel. I'd like to check whether you blended the line correctly or not. Alright, then let's move on to the back bodies. So you need to trace this basic back bodies block. And after tracing, we are going to transfer the shoulder dart to armhole. So to transfer the shoulder dart axis to armhole, you need to measure the shoulder line, the original shoulder line, and add that amount here. So from the starting point, and you need to extend this line to draw a new shoulder line, and you also need to redraw the armhole. And we're going to draw a princess line. So first we're going to draw a line from the start point. So draw a line 1 inch up from the start point. Then we need to draw a notch here, and from this point we're going to draw another guideline to mid armhole. So you need to measure this new armhole line and find the midpoint. And I'm going to repeat the same process that we did for the front bodies. So I'm going to find the midpoint of this guideline. And from this midpoint, we need to square out 3/16 inch. And we need to draw a curved line, and the line should touch this point. So now we got this princess line, and we're going to cut this pattern so that we will have 2 separate pieces. So you need to cut along this princess line, and you need to cut this new shoulder line and new armhole. So you should have 2 separate pieces like this, and you shouldn't cut the shoulder dart since we transfer this to the armhole, right? So we're going to remove the start axis, which has been transferred to here. So we're going to measure the start axis. And from here, you need to mark that amount. So we need to remove the start axis, which was transferred from the shoulder dart here. So you need to measure this amount, and you need to mark that amount from this point. So mark, and we're going to draw a new princess line from this notch. And we need to cut this part. And then we need to do truing. So since we cut this part, we need to true the armhole. So please place the center back bodies and side back bodies and make sure to match the notch here. And if you look at here, you should be able to see the difference, right, in between the center back bodies and the side back bodies. So we need to redraw the armhole line. So I'm going to tape my pattern, and since we need to draw a line in the middle of this line here, we need paper to draw the line. And let's tape at the back. So when we blend this armhole line, we need to trim this part, and we need to add some amount from the side panel. So the line should be drawn in between these two patterns. And also there is a gap in between the princess line of the center back bodies and the side back bodies. So we need to trace this princess line, and let's remove the center back bodies, and we need to cut the trimmed part, and we need to blend this princess line, and let's tape and make sure to extend the notches, and let's cut. And let's trace the working patterns. Alright, so after tracing, you need to label each piece correctly. So for this one, you need to indicate that this is center back bodies and it should be cut too. And don't forget to mark these notches. And for the side panel, you need to put side back bodies. Alright? Okay, so this is what you need to do for exercise 126.